Hello. Welcome to another edition of Sports Card ASMR. I am the Sports Card Doctor, and I'm very happy that you are here with us today on the channel that combines sports card nostalgia and ASMR relaxation. We would love, yes, love, I'm making the international symbol for prayer, because it's my prayer that you would consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you jump on board this fun train. Today is an episode in which we are removing cards from our collection. I'll explain when we get there. Now, we have a lot of legends in our collection, and maybe some of the cards I'm, quote, removing from the collection will end up in our legend stack. You know what I mean. Legends like ultra cool Jose Offerman, looking like every bit of 1990 chic that you'd want to be if you were Jose Offerman. Nappin' Kevin Brown. This is one of the only times Kevin Brown showed an emotion other than anger. Great baseball star Bucky Lasek, the best choice in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. Screech. No, not the sitcom superstar, but the best baseball mascot going today. There's Picture Day Cabran Hayes, looking off to the distance and dreaming about success in Cincinnati. And of course, the greatest photo of a punter ever captured by man, Sean Landeta. In fact, if we do make it to Mars, they should bring this card with them and leave it there as a sign to any other alien civilization that finds it that they cannot improve on our perfection. Those are our legend cards. We might find more legends today, and if we do, we'll set them aside, maybe even in our penny sleeves. This nice little handy dandy or handy dandy. I knew a handy dandy once. He was an interesting kid in school. I wonder where he is now. These penny sleeves were originally sent to us by our listener Eric. So if you'd like to send us something, there's an address down below. It's a good way to help support the channel and help cool things appear on camera. All right. Deep breath of anticipation, because let's see how this is going to go. As you know, we add things to our collection here on Sports Card ASMR. But today, we're going to be removing things from our collection. Here we go. You know when you were a kid and you wanted a sports card album to put all your sports cards in so you could take it to the park or to school or to church and show all your friends, these are the cards I have. Would you like to trade for any of them? Or you just have them and you know one day they're going to make you rich. But let's just say you weren't rich and you needed a binder, an album to put all your sheets of cards in. You didn't have money to get one of the fancy ones with the nice little logo on it, like a sporting man doing a football or a basketball or a baseball. No, you had your dad bring home some, not from his work. My dad didn't even work for this company, but these were just all around in storage closets at work sites everywhere in the 80s. And so that's what you get, the cheap binder. I've had this binder for a very long time, and in it are a lot of football cards of stars of the day in 1989 to about 1993. So, I've looked through this before here on the channel, but I decided I might want to clean this binder up and take out some of the cards that really don't have value. Now I'm going to use that word value loosely. I'm not going to remove any Christian Okoye's. The Nigerian Nightmare. He's one of the great running backs of his time, and I'd say any time. So we're going to keep that there, this collection. But there's some cards that are going to go. So go with me on this journey. But let's get a lay of the land first and look through this binder. Some of the cards I'm interested in pulling. I see ones that are going to be close calls. Let's get back to the front here and start making our cuts. I guess in a way, I'm doing this video in honor of the NFL training camp and all the tough cuts that coaching staffs around the league are about to make. See the different kinds of sheets I had in here. This one is very hard. Could protect you in a fallout shelter. This one is dirty, loose, ineffective. All right. There's my Joe Montana. Alright. So, like I said, make these tough cuts with me. Let's do it. I was a fan of Christian Okoye. I really enjoyed watching him work back when the shoulder pads were as big as big rig trucks and bulldozers. We thought that would protect players from injury, but really we needed to worry about the helmets. I'm going to keep all the Okoyes, but over here we have one of the running backs that the Kansas City Ball Club thought was going to replace Christian Okoye, and that's Barry Ward, fullback. We're going to remove Barry Ward. He did have a 1,000-yard rushing season for the Chiefs in 1990. 1991 score, Barry Ward going to the side. Hold on to the rest of them. Alright, here we have got an 86 tops Walter Payton. We're holding on to all these. We got the Pro Bowl of Tony Dorsett, 19 Was that 83 tops? Tony Dorsett right there. Herschel Walker. I don't think the Walkers have as much value as you'd think. One of the greatest running backs at the time, of course. But I think we'll hold on to all these for now. I'm gonna have to make some tough cuts here. Now, as you know, we have another full-fledged binder that we've been building here on the channel. Watch those videos. So I might move some of the cards over there because we do have a lot of Emmitt Smiths over there. See, look at this. This doesn't even fully go in. 1990 draft, first round. Emmitt Smith. Okay. I think what we're going to do, he was a superstar of the day, but Marion Butts, as Chris Berman used to say, it's going to go. Another fullback with a big rushing total, because back in the day, kids, fullbacks were allowed on the field. Marion Butts, great player. Loved at San Diego. But we're going to pull him from this collection here today. Now I'm going to hold on to these cards. On the off chance any of you have some emotional connection to these cards I'm pulling, and you want to get a hold of them, there's an email listed in the description of this video. Reach out and we can make an arrangement. I don't think anyone's going to want these cards because you could probably get them at your local thrift store or bargain trash bins at card shops. But on the off chance. Alright. We're definitely keeping these Bo Jacksons. In fact, there's a good chance, even though I know they don't have a ton of collector value now, I might move these to a more secure location. I want to move these Eric Dickersons 85 tops and 86 tops. The 85 tops are so hard to keep in good condition, and this is already probably dinged down to a 6 or lower. There's no real value in this one, but I'm going to hold on to that right there. This league leaders card here, receiving leaders, Andre Reed and Jerry Rice, I'm going to take out and maybe move to another location. Here's what we're going to do with the bows. I think I'm going to move the bows. Take these out as carefully as I can, but these sheets are so loose, cards are almost falling out of them. I'm just a kid of the 80s and 90s, so Bo Jackson's always going to have a special place in my heart. And I have a little Bo Jackson collection over there that we're going to add these to. 91 score, yeah. Alright, there we go. We're going to put these bows aside. Bo knows safe card collecting. Okay. These ones I'm just going to keep there for now. I mean, look at this sheet. It's got residue on it. Who knows what's going on there? Alright, we got a John Elway page with a Bruce Smith randomly stuck there. We're going to maybe move that Bruce Smith. We'll hold on to the Elways here for now. Maybe one day I'll move these into the other binder. 87 tops John Elway takes me back. Alright, Joe Montana. We'll hold on to all of these. We recently pulled one of those. That's the other thing too, I'm not afraid to get rid of some of these ones because we open up a lot of these on the channel and we have them in other spots. Alright, this page is very much of a collector in 1992 or 3. These are some of the big receivers of the day. Andre Reed, Anthony Carter, Mark Carrier. I do love the sherbet orange Mark Carrier cards, but I think we can clear some space. It's crazy to look at these Anthony Carters and think that Chris Carter surpassed him, when at the time Anthony Carter was top dog amongst NFL receivers. Maybe for a while, second only to Andre Reed and Jerry Rice. All right. I think we can set those ones aside. Hold on to the Andre Reeds for now. All right, we got this random page of 1989 stars. The Norman Boomer Esiason collection. Jerry Rice, of course, heard of him, and record breaker Flipper Anderson. Always loved this Pro Set card of Flipper Anderson. But unfortunately, I think we're going to set these ones aside. We need to clear some space, maybe, for more Jerry Rices. Not necessarily going away. But there. I'm also going to move the Boomer Esiasons. Fan of Boomer. Good lefty quarterback there. We're going to make this a Jerry Rice page for now. With a little Andre Reed on it. All right. Hall of Famer Sterling Sharp, right? Yeah? Okay. You can tell this is what era this is because I have Sterling Sharp and Don Mikowski. We can move the Magic Man. And hold on to those Sterling Sharps. As I always say, my favorite of the Sharps. All right. Easy pull here. Brian Blades. He of the Blades brothers, Benny and Brian. Hold on to Roger Craig, who not in the NFL Hall of Fame, correct, right? I drifted off a little bit in who was in the Hall of Fame, but I do believe he belongs in it. Maybe it's my 80s, 90s bias. Speaking of 80s, 90s bias, one of the best running backs during this era was James Brooks. Not TV and movie producer, writer, director James L. Brooks, but James Brooks was Cincinnati. 87 Tops Brooks is great. He'd already played for a few years, you forget. His success in the late 80s with the Bengals was part of a little bit of a post-87, 88 resurgence. I think one of those names forgotten to time, unless you're a real 80s, 90s football guy, or gal, or person. Alright, we're going to clear this entire page. I have a Tim McKyer in here. Why do I have a Tim McKyer in here? Because remember, in the early 90s, I think 92, he went over to the Miami Dolphins and for a while helped lead our Miami Pound Machine defense. So I became a fan of his and grabbed cards featuring him in his 49er past. Goodbye, Tim McKay. All right. Speaking of receivers of this era, Anthony Miller and Vance Johnson. Good players. I think this is one of the best cards of the era. This Vance Johnson Broncos celebratory card there. Love that. So like I said, not necessarily getting rid of it. One of these Anthony Millers. Just clearing space. I'm running out of room again. So I gotta make some space. Okay. All right. Keith Millard, one of the best defenders. I think if, well, I mean, Madden was around during this time, right? The early versions of the Madden game, but I think Millard now would be one of those 99 defensive guys. I think Carl Banks would be about an 88, but you'd want him on your team. Gary Clark. always love this card. I think it's just bold and bright. Cornelius Bennett, super rookie. We have a few of these in other spots. I love the Pete Rozelle cards. Oh, a little stuck. Hold on here. Sports card doctor's got to get his things. Kind of a legend. Great comb over. Tie left over from the 70s. Pete Rozelle, NFL commissioner. We will set this aside. I have several of these. I don't know why. I'm so excited I bumped the mic. I apologize. Alright, here's John Taylor. Let's be honest, we have him in the collection because of that Super Bowl catch. Sheet, but this sheet is not, this is not good quality. Alright, we've got a bunch of Thurman Thomases. As much as I hate the Bills from this era, I do love Thurman Thomas. We'll hold on to those. I'm going to move this Spielman rookie card just for blanks and giggles. I'm going to set this Spielman aside. I have a few of these, but could be a good card to include on a big lot for a garage sale or something. Tim Brown, Eric Metcalf, two good players, obviously, but we don't need them here. We might not need them anymore. Alright, well, here's without a doubt one of the greatest players of the era, Lawrence Taylor. 87 Topps Taylor's intriguing. I'm going to hold on to these. You know, let's just say post-football life, Lawrence Taylor is not the, you know, life you want to aim for. Not exemplary, but we're just going to move along. We're going to move along. Alright, I loved these Pro Set kind of trophy winner cards, but they have almost no value. I have this Jim Everett because not only was he one of the big gunslingers at the time, but he once tried to beat up Jim Rome, and it was entertaining, though I am a fan of Jim Rome, and a fan of Jim, don't call me Chris Everett. There you go. We can get rid of these here. It's almost like these sheets have bricked the cards. These cards that I'm pulling out have been in here since they came out in the packs. I'm pulling out part of my childhood here. Alright, now I'm going to pull out this Derek Thomas. I know this card doesn't have a ton of value, but we don't do everything for value around here. There's some emotional value in the late Derek Thomas's card here, so we're going to set it aside. NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year card. Okay. Just remember as a kid when you got a card like these, like, oh, the 1989 Maxwell Club Player of the Year. Oh my God, Phoenix drafted him in the second round. Future Hall of Famer. And it was nothing, but these were fun cards. I liked those. I like those ones. Another empty sheet. And we got more Jim Everett's, including the Topps Super Rookie. I might just hold on to that, just for fun. 1989 self would not believe that I'm removing Bobby Humphrey, but I am. Short career, ended in Miami with my Dolphins. I thought when the Dolphins acquired him that we had finally gotten Dan Marino, the piece out of the backfield he needed. Showed up in the NFL with such a great early run. A couple 1,000-yard seasons. Showed up, now look at this rookie season, 1,151 yards, 7 touchdowns in 1989. He was great. Bobby Humphrey was great. Didn't last, as is often the case. All right, speaking of early 90s football cards, we have the Andre Rison Andre Ware collection. I have a lot of Andre Wares, so I'm going to move these. These aren't going. These are just going to be moved. I'm going to keep all these Risons here. Andre Rison, another player that looked like the world was all in front of him, and it didn't really go that way, but he was great. I was a fan of him, clearly. I'm going to hold on to those ones now. I am not going to hold on to John L. Williams, the Seahawks running back, fullback. I'm going to hold on to that Ronnie Lott. We can pull Mark Rippon out. And another great underrated receiver of his day, Webster Slaughter. Okay, there you go. Perfect. We'll keep that Ronnie Lott there for now. I might move him. All right, we got more Herschel Walkers. We can remove this Bill Brooks. As I have a lot of these 87 rookies elsewhere. But look at this Warren Moon collection. We're going to move Bruce Smith. And maybe we'll move Herschel Walker to the front. I like these Warren Moons. This 85 Topps Warren Moon is a very valuable card if you have it in good condition. Mine, it's a little off-center, and it's got corners that are dinged and rounded because it's an 85 Topps black border card, similar to the 86 Topps baseball. I was a fan of Warren Moon. Loved him. Loved them in Minnesota as well. So we'll hold on to these. Emotional value. Alright, we'll hold on to all of these here. These ones aren't valuable, but there's some good stuff. I do love the Frank Harris 83 Topps in action card. These scores, Ted Hendricks and Randall Cunningham, one of the best. I give credit to Randall Cunningham for really shaking up the template of what it means to be a quarterback in the NFL. All right, we're going to remove the other Mark Carrier. He has a little more value than the Tampa Bay Mark Carrier, but I think we can clear some space. Again, if you're a Bears fan and you really want this Pro Set draft pick card, you let me know. The 91 Flares still might be one of the worst designed cards ever, but it's so of its time that I love it. It looks like clip art. Looks like Clippy made you a football card. Move this, Chris Miller. We do have a lot of Troy Aikmans in the other binder. But we'll hold on to these ones right now and move them a little bit later. Alright. I'm not touching my Neil Anderson collection. Okay? Neil Anderson, the heir apparent to Walter Payton. And, how can you replace Walter Payton? He was destined to not have as great a career as that man. But Neil Anderson's one of my favorites from the era. I think a forgotten player. Would have loved having him in Miami. We're holding on to these ones. All right, we got the Reverend, the late great Reggie White. We because I might offer these up to my friend Mark, who is a lifelong Washington football team fan. He might like those art mugs. Tim Harris, great player in the era. Loved that that nose wrap, that tape. Looks like me trying to go to bed at night, trying to avoid a sleep apnea mask or something. Good job, Tim. But we'll move you along. And we'll hold on to these Reggies. All right. Dexter Carter. Johnny Jones. Okay. We have a lot of these Jeff Crosses of my Miami Dolphins. And the very serviceable Henry Howard. Final page here. Remove the Dalton Hilliards. He and Craig Ironhead Hayward formed quite a backfield for a while. We're going to remove the Ernest Givens and the Drew Hill, part of the great receiving corps in Houston. Throw in a Haywood Jeffries in there as well. All right, I loved Dave Maggot. Though, when you see Dave Maggot's cards, I think many of us think of Chris Berman. And Chris Berman saying, look at that little Maggot run. I think it all the time. Don't worry, you're not alone. But looking back, I don't know if Chris Berman should have said that. I don't know if that, all right. Leather, you're with me. Okay. But we can't hold that against Dave Maggot. I'm going to set these aside. Electric player during this era. And then we got one of my favorite players of the era, Steve Largent. I am going to move these to the other binder because I think I already have these, so we can clear some space. All right. Look at us. This was productive. I love doing these kind of videos. They're a little different for me because this is actual, like, housework. I needed to do this, but why not press record? And hopefully you all find some relaxation. Just to have to. All right, I'm going to do this very careful. Okay, the last thing. I'm going to add some tension here. I'm going to move these again. These cards aren't going to make me rich, but I like having them. And I want to clear this page. We got 2 slots here, so we might as well, you know what I mean? Carefully, just to preserve them. Great running backs of the late 80s and mid 80s too. Alright, there we go. So, as I said, these cards don't have any value. But if for whatever reason you out there are like, man, I'd love 3 Dave Maggot cards. I'm a big fan of the Houston Oilers. I'd like an Ernest Givens or Drew Hill. and you don't want to go out to a card shop and buy 1991 score cards until you get them, or 90 Flair cards, you can just reach out to me. There's an email address listed there. In fact, any card you see, here's the deal. You reach out, express the card that you want, you give me a super thanks here on any video and let me know so that you can cover the cost of mailing it out in an envelope, and we'll do it. All right, that's the deal. Now, if it's a, card that has great value, we can talk about that. But these cards, if you want them, you let me know. All right, that's it. I got some work done today. Feels good. We'll see you next time here on Sports Card ASMR.